Copyright by Douglas Rudrin. Cover design by Barry Bebop. All rights reserved. Independently published. This is a work of fiction. Names, characters, places, and incidents are either the product of the author's imagination or are used fictitiously. Doug is not real. Any resemblance to actual persons, living or dead, events, or locals is entirely coincidental. Doug, a DougDoug story by Douglas Foreword. There are certain individuals that, on reading their story, you will never look at that individual the same way again. Whether it is the wisdom of Helen Keller, the artistic perspectives of Kenneth Branagh, or the heartwarming memories of beloved pets from Christy Neome, we read biographies to better understand that we admire both in history and in our present day. Is it intellectual voyeurism that draws us to read the intimate details of one's life? Maybe, you perv. But I'm not here to kink shame. I was invited by Doug Rudrin to read his biography and offer up a foreword of yet another pretty bright thing that has lost scope, empathy, and insight with anyone who holds a real job in this world. Being one of the elite of content creators, this rather ambitious tome, written by someone who's been on this planet a whopping 3,000 years, would no doubt feature griping moments of a life laden with such turmoils as cafe mocha that tastes too cafe in the moment and needed more mocha, or the trials of finding that his sneaker collection lacked the Louis Vuitton x Nike Air Force One collaboration. Perhaps there would even be the shocking and somewhat heartbreaking tale of Rudrin alone in the rain as some kind of David Tennant stand-in as he watches an Uber he booked half an hour ago only drive by, completely unaware of his perceived social status. Sure, Doug would say as raindrops would mingle with his tears. If I were Markiplier or Kai Kinect, you would have made the fare. Why not me? Yes, I was expecting all of this and more. A broad new definition of vapid with perhaps a generous offering of hubris with just a dash of Schadenfreude. I was wrong. So very, very wrong. What Doug, a DougDoug story, offered within its bindings was so much more than I could have been prepared for. Reading this biography, I found myself possessing the intellect of a newborn babe. My emotional state had been reduced to that of Arkansas. Physically, I was drained, an empty vessel, so desperate to be refilled, but asking in the end, what's the point? Which is kind of trippy when you ask, wait, you're an empty water bottle experiencing an existential crisis? What the frick kind of writer are you? I'm an award-winning writer, thank you very much, and I'm getting deep, so strap in, Sparky, and keep reading. Doug, a DougDoug story, is not just a transformative work. It is a transcendent work. It is a work of literature that broadens your scope of reality. It is a story that will have you questioning everything you understand about the universe. It's an 8-ball of cocaine laced with gamer subs, v bloodlust, chased with a monster mango loco, while watching Inception with the loop as your balls are slapped repeatedly to stimulate testosterone. This is the book that students generations from now will be required to read in school, and because of Doug, a DougDoug story, will never pick up another book again. Upon finishing Doug, a DougDoug story, I now find myself asking if there is room for my own writing. Does my own perspective even matter in a world graced with Rudrins? I don't know anymore. About my writing, about my gaming, about my content, this is why I will be retiring to a monastery somewhere in Southeast Asia. Just after TwitchCon 2025, it is my intent to walk into nothingness, my own personal atomic signature fading into eternity, my name disappearing into the fog of obscurity, my own wife and child he's bald and alone, my own wife and child looking to one another in their own twilight years and asking each other, remember that guy who hung out with us all the time? He used to mean something before Doug Rudrin completely wrecked his self-esteem. Yes, whilst my name and all for which I built surrenders itself to the sweet embrace of insignificance, I thank you, Doug Rudrin, for offering me in Doug, a DougDoug story, the epiphany of where my place in society and yes, in the universe truly is. Thank you, Doug. Thank you. T. Morris, award-winning author of the Ministry of Peculiar Occurrences series, author of Podcasting for Dummies and Twitch for Dummies.